Hey, I said, well, what the hell?
Dominic.
I can speak, take it from how she
Here it is,
wanted
here
it
it
different.
is.
Thank you. I know, I was just looking.
Who's got sign, oh, she's got
Yeah, come in
sign.
here.
John, did you get this?
I'll get a little chair.
Whoa,
Yeah.
there's plenty of room, John.
Either that or I'll let you guys take the minutes.
All right, sit on.
Oh, stop being a whiny baby and sit down.
George, did you get?
There's gotta be an ass, might as well be a smart one.
That's right. One thing you don't wanna be, John, is a whiny baby. We got enough of those around. Hey,
How are you?
it looks like there are two pieces of everything.
Did you get anything yet?
Of course I did.
Huh? Not that, I.
I want to.
Trying to get that other one.
Any more
Put
I want Barbara needs, this, is there another, Tony, is there another one of these floating around? Oh, she said, oh, I got it, okay.
That's good.
No, I need it for Barbara. Ronnie, pass it down, Ronnie, Barbara.
He's got it.
I don't know if you were here in the time of
No.
Kurt Weiss.
No,
It's
no.
him.
No, I wasn't there then.
I remember him writing a newspaper, that's what I remember. I'm here 14 years.
How are you?
I like him, but it's
Can't help yourself.
That's okay. I've been known to do that myself.
Cameras on, folks.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
she noticed that.
Oh,
Yeah, we
A
know
little late,
that.
little late.
Can I have some of the single ones for you? Does anybody need any of these things? Because it looks like I was asked to give them out. Did you get one, Whitey?
Oh, I see. Never mind, I know now. Yeah, learn how to read.
Yes, it was here.
Oh, those are yours. Did you just sign my name?
I sure.
Anybody didn't, there are two pieces. There are two pieces, one's agenda and one is a payment schedule.
Got the sign in, Liz.
It's coming.
Oh.
Right here a minute ago.
I think, well, we gotta act fast.
I know.
We gotta act fast.
Don has it.
Dominic has it.
Okay,
Oh,
anybody
okay.
that didn't get, they are in 2 pages, the agenda and a payment schedule. Anyway, thank you. Dan,
Two parts.
Yeah.
Dominic,
anyone? I have extras.
John, when you finish,
This is multi-15.
Not that poking you out, is it?
15,000 feet
Here.
of the northern slopes is now focal cut.
20 seconds.
Very
Don,
special.
you can't try it.
They have trained monkeys.
I think I might just,
The monkey,
this is all I got, and when they get to the assessment page, it looks like I just need one. Don't worry about it. Or I'll look at it.
Get the operators to use
Share with me? Thank you.
that's similar, but different. All right, folks. Sure. The operations committee, please come to order.
That's okay, we can share. Monica, we can share.
More than one.
And some of those people over there can't read anyhow, it doesn't matter.
Operations committee, please come to order. Including the insurance chairman.
I don't.
All right, thank you all.
It's been worse.
For, sure. I don't mind sure. For those of you who, before we get started, keep in mind the cameras on. I mentioned in passing that in 1968, in this day, USS Scorpion sunk in 10,000 feet of water off the Carolina coast with 99 hands lost. FYI.
When was this?
1968.
It's the year my daughter was
That was a
born.
very tough year, all the way
Why?
around.
My daughter was born that year.
A torpedo warhead cooked off.
They shot themselves. Obviously, so, I mean, it was in.
So
It was
malfunction.
friendly fire. They
It was
call
a
that friendly
malfunction.
fire.
Things change
Where do you get this stuff? No offense.
Well, it was global news for a month at least. Alright,
Do we have
here we go.
the minutes?
There are. For a change, why don't we start with Monica? Is everyone signed in?
No,
We have to
yeah,
read the
where's
minutes first.
A tough year.
Where's the sign-in sheet? Somebody pass it down this way
Monica has it.
after you're done.
Please,
need?
Sign in.
please be reading.
It'll
the
come back.
minutes.
Wow, these are nice minutes, John.
I didn't do those.
I know.
Thank you anyway.
Those are nice minutes.
Nice minutes.
Sandy Cooper.
Oh, Sandy.
Miss Sandy
Sandy.
did it.
All right, nicely done. Wow.
We're starting a little early. This is usually a long meeting and it gets very chattery. We're starting a bit early.
Now we have to be quiet.
And we try to contain ourselves and go through the agenda. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes, I'm questioning the water testing, is that, this water testing was the one directly from the pipe?
Yes.
I think, if my memory serves me correctly, we were going to contact, Hajime potentially.
I contacted Hajime. The mix is perfect for reclaimed water. That's why you like it. High in nitrogen, phosphorus, and the plants love it.
So I thought we were nixing the idea of continuing to test the water coming out of the pipe. This says that we would do it 2 more times. Does anybody,
No, I don't think we've decided on that.
I made a motion.
and we,
I withdrew it, he withdrew it.
See, ultimately, and it's on the agenda, I wanna discuss the whole water testing agreement. Whether that's really something worth doing for $5,500 a year.
Did you get my email about me asking for what it was when we started and what it is now and, you know?
I don't know how much it was when we started. Dan might remember that.
No, I mean, how bad was the water? How much?
Oh, no, the last reading, that lake was normal except for a mild turbidity, a cloudiness.
Okay, when we get onto it, I think that's how we should do
But
it.
now, the
That's what I'm
last
saying.
test, the lake was normal.
What I'm saying to you is, I think that we should think about how much that changed. Or what from what it was to what it is now, and was it worth the money?
This is a good time to discuss this, except that it's in,
Then I was gonna say later on the
Yes.
agenda. Yes, I knew that.
through the financial.
it has.
Yeah.
Just not to cut you off, it has improved steadily. I mean, those aerators, now, I can't say what it's like at the farthest reaches of the canals. They're not testing out there. But the lake is dead bang normal.
It's improved considerably from when we first started.
Well, I think we should think about where, like I said, but that, it's further on in the agenda, and I am waiting for Monica's money. I live for Monica's money.
Alright,
Let's do it.
again, are there any corrections?
Better look better.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Any correction to the minutes? We have a motion to accept the minutes. The minutes are accepted and written. Thank
And
you.
extremely well done, I might add. Can I say that, put that in the minutes, that the minutes are well done?
Yes, definitely. I'd say we had pages here.
Although John's are always lovely.
They're always good.
Not as lovely as
Because
they're gonna
everybody's
be.
talking to me.
Has someone jiggled?
They just got shorter, huh?
Jiggler.
David, just set me straight on this with the water testing. So
Yes. Well, we can discuss that.
Okay, because we were talking about the minutes, this is in the minutes from,
Right.
and I thought we were not gonna do any additional testing until you spoke with Hajimiri.
He made the motion.
No, Hajimiri
Brought that up.
is very clear. Those readings are dead bang normal for reclaimed water.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, he declined to take the readings anymore until we actually, I thought
That's
that's,
what I
I thought
thought.
that's what.
Who
Doesn't matter when
declined?
we get to it.
Yeah.
Donald had
No,
said something
this
that we
is-
weren't going to
We're
spend
talking
that
about the,
money.
it's the minutes issue.
What do you
It's
want it to say? What should it say?
Why don't they
up to
do
be hung up
things in
on
order?
this.
Let's
This
go
is
to
under new
financial.
business,
Yeah, let's
okay?
go to
Yeah.
financial.
No, we're in minutes still. She has a question on minutes.
What
What,
about the minutes?
Then I don't think that that was accurate, that's what I'm saying.
What's not accurate?
What should it
That
say?
the water testing would continue 2 more times.
I'm not aware of that.
No, I wasn't.
I'm not aware that it will continue at all.
Right, but it says here that we would.
So
That's
what should
I'm
it say?
Ah,
What should it
He
say?
just mentioned, he
made a motion and withdrew
at
it.
the meeting.
And withdrew it.
Yeah,
Right.
so that should be correct.
That's what we're.
That's what needs to be corrected.
So we need to remove this last sentence.
Yes.
Eva was requested to have the water tested repeated for 3 consecutive
It
months.
should say motion was made but withdrawn, no more testing at this time.
Okay.
Alright.
Motion made.
Yeah, that's right, we weren't gonna
Right.
do it until we found out if it was, do the results
Let's
versus
just take it out
income.
and go to financials, please,
Yeah.
before we go any further.
Go
Otherwise, Monica's gonna be giving us financial information at noon.
over lunch.
Oh, I got it.
Queen of numbers.
Okay, this morning we're looking at your statement of operations for the 5 months ended March 31st. We had total revenue of $481,000, spent $470,000, so we had a profit of $12,000. For the 5 months, we had revenue of $2.3 million, we spent $2.4 million, so we have a loss of $169,000. And we had actually budgeted for that period of time a loss of $233,000. You'll notice the largest variance here is, I'm glad to see this swing the other way now, is repairs and maintenance, where we are under budget $24,000, and previously we had been over budget every month, so that's looking a lot better. So we have a positive variance of $65,000. Your social activities at the bottom, our theater income for March was $77,000. Our theater dances and movies, we paid $97,000. So for the month of March, we had a $20,000 loss, which is one of the things that we talked about quite a bit last month, I mean. Yep. For the 5 months, our theater and dance income was $290,000. We spent $304,000, so we have a loss of $14,000. We had budgeted a loss of $30,000, so it's a positive variance of $16,000. The very bottom, your cash basis versus your accrual indicates that we have collected for the 5 months $169,000 in excess of what our monthly coupon is, and that's a result of prepayments. That's a good thing. Yes, that's been great.
How old the delinquent?
It's starting to improve a little bit. We still have that what I call that core group.
Hardcore, yeah.
You know, that the owner has passed away and nobody in the family has any interest, but we're slowly chipping away at those core units, and we're not seeing a big increase in new units coming on board. Any other questions?
Remember when we sure would have came down here with the list years ago? It's over 500. Over 500 units, totally non-productive.
I'll do an update next month of how many units we're looking at right now.
600 some.
Yeah, I'm thinking now it's around 250 or something like
Oh,
that.
Unusual.
It's
That's
much
great.
lower. Yeah.
Much better now.
I'll bring those numbers to you next month.
I think the asset recovery programs help that.
Yes, absolutely.
That was kind of at the height of the great economic crash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that's a great improvement.
Right.
250.
Don't quote me on that, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Okay, I'll bring you the
Write that
actual
down.
number next month. The next report is your cash balances. March 31st, our operating funds totaled $332,000, about the same as the previous month. And our windstorm and infrastructure Reserve funds totaled $1,379,000, so we have a total available cash of $1.7 million. Ed pointed out, wanted me to make a note that, so that you are all aware, this is strictly cash accounts for WPRF and does not include any reserves that you may have with UCO.
But did you can include that once a month? So that we would see what the revenue looks like on a continuing basis.
Okay.
Fashionably late.
Any questions?
There's one.
Okay.
Okay.
Next report, which is good timing for Miss Abby to walk right in, is your social activities report for the month of April. We sold theater tickets to 1,687 folks. Our gross revenue was $9,300. After Vendini cost and sales tax, we have $8,400 in revenue, and we paid $3,500 to the performers. So for the month of April, we have a profit of $4,900. We had 1,166 people attending the dances, and we paid $1,400. We had 1,577 people attending the movies. We paid $1,600. So the net profit for the month was $1,874. I repeated below where we were for each month during season and then added April. So that brings our loss through April to $4,900. Any questions? Yes, Barbara?
Does that mean, just to clarify, that our total loss, including the residential, I know you have nothing to do with that, Abby.
That
That's
does
$20,000.
That does exclude, yes, if
So
you
you
include
add
the
the
residential,
4,000
yes,
onto
ma'am.
the 16, we're up to 20,000 loss. That's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
I'm asking, okay.
Yes. Any further questions? The next report is your Estoppel income report. This is also through April. We had 322 units that were sold in this community during that period of time and collected $48,300. Compared to the same period in the prior year, there was 341 units sold, so it's 19 units less, or about a 5% decrease. One thing I wanted to point out to you that I found interesting is I started reporting Estoppel income to the committee in Boca and Pembroke, and I have not historically done that. And Pembroke wanted to know how they compared to Boca and West Palm. I'm like, I don't know. I've never looked. So I did look, and I was amazed that this community has by far the most number of units being sold when compared to Pembroke or Boca.
Because they're lower in price.
Yeah, quite a bit more. January through April of this year, there was 258 units sold in West Palm, 117 in Boca, and 213 in Pembroke Pines.
We're the least expensive Century
Correct.
Fire also.
Right, yes, ma'am.
Well, we got a great location.
It's true too. Also, we also have kind of like, there are people here who need a lower income, but wanna own something, but also don't have, a lot of people, we have got a lot of people coming from New York. And plus, once you come and visit someone and you look around and you say, well, I might just as well buy it, so.
Well, the prices are on the increase, so that's, the values are going up, so that's a good thing. Okay, the next thing on the agenda for me is that I wanted to talk to the committee about setting a date for what I'm calling our budget workshop.
No.
It's a we don't wanna be in the same situation we were last year when everybody got upset when we first presented the budget, so I thought the best thing to do is for us to bring our wish list to you, and you have your wish list. And before we go out and start getting all these prices for all these things that you may not want, let's talk about it in advance.
Yes, good idea.
Agreed.
I don't know what your calendar is for June, but I was thinking about maybe the first week of June.
First week of June.
I owe you an apology, I was supposed to get.
That's good.
Check with, I'm gonna check with
It's not
Rhoda.
scheduled, Rhoda, yeah.
I don't know what the calendar looks like.
First week in June starts on June 4th.
Didn't do that.
That's okay. While she's doing that, we'll go forward. The next thing on my agenda is open enrollment for our employee benefits. For all employees of Centerville Recreation, we have about 135 employees, and open enrollment for benefits is July 1. I just met with our insurance broker last week and got the results, and I was afraid it's gonna be like it's been the last couple of years, and we were gonna be seeing some big increases in premiums. But instead, Humana, which is our current provider of our employee medical insurance, Humana started at a 12% increase, and the broker negotiated it down to 7%. However, United Healthcare was really interested in getting our business back, so they came in at a much lower increase. In fact, the entry-level plan that we have is gonna be a 2% decrease in premium.
Excellent.
So that's really good news, yeah.
Coverage is
And they were
The
good
coverage
company.
is very comparable,
I was
absolutely. We
thinking
didn't
that.
sacrifice coverage for the employees, for premiums. We are gonna stay with Humana for dental and vision, because that was much better premiums than the other carriers, but, that's what we're looking at. And the biggest increase for medical is on the plan that's the most expensive plan, and we only have 6 employees in the company on that plan, so those 6 employees will bear the bigger burden of what small increase we do have. Any questions?
June 7th, which is Thursday,
June
is
7th?
open for you go.
Okay, does that work for you guys?
Works fine.
I'm gone.
That's an open day, it's an
Yeah,
open day.
I'm gone. I'm the only one, I think, though. I'm going up north.
I won't be here either, but
Okay, so,
will I.
okay, so the rest of you
Three
will.
out of
That's
the
only
rest,
three.
so.
You wanna try to do it earlier?
They're open the entire day, or you mean earlier than that, I don't know what they're
No.
available.
I won't be here earlier.
it doesn't matter, I'll be gone.
I'm coming back on the
Early
5th.
enough.
7th.
3 people's no big deal.
Okay,
Seven's
so,
only a preliminary, right?
Yes.
mhm.
So that's
So we'll shoot for June 7th at 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry?
And into the night.
In other words, plan on lunch, bring in lunch.
Try 2 J's.
Gee, I'll miss
It's
you.
wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's my favorite deli food.
Monica,
That's it for me?
Okay,
That's all good.
thank you.
wanna hear from Abby first?
Yes.
Well, Abby, I think Abby would prefer to go last, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter to me, I'm here for the
Okay.
duration.
Do you need the camera to be turned on?
No.
Okay.
Oh, the camera to be turned off, no.
Okay.
It was brought to my attention that last month you all discussed moving the Saturday dances to Friday. That's perfectly fine, no issues with it whatsoever. We can do it effective April of
Wait until Barbara comes back, because I don't mean to but she was the one that was the most set against changing it from the Saturday.
But we voted on it, it's done.
I know, but Barbara, they're
Let me
discussing.
start over again.
Okay.
Yes, go
It was
ahead.
brought to my attention last month that you wanna move the Saturday night dances to Friday night. I am here to inform you of several things. I cannot do that until April of 2019.
We know.
We know that, yeah.
Okay, you were told November,
Oh.
but it's
Oh.
April, we are not booked.
Where's Barbara?
Right there.
Thank God.
Sorry.
April
So April 2019.
April 2019.
Do you have any idea how old we all are? Don't know what I'm gonna.
Collectively, or?
I'm
Next.
joining I've joined your club already, I turned 60, so I'm in your club.
Oh God, you're a baby.
That's
The good
right.
thing is in TJ Maxx on Mondays, you get 10% off.
Sounds like Ed, remember, Ed, look to the left and look to the right.
Well, while
How
you're,
many of them will be here?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
who said that?
2019?
Oh
Supposed to
my
be here.
gosh.
Ed's got a way of saying things. He's a charming guy.
April 2019, I would just say, Abby, April 2019 would give us plenty of time to let people know, right? More than enough time
Work with Donald.
to prepare them.
In the middle of a meeting, I didn't set that meeting, work with Donald.
Okay.
And if they're that
So
old, they're not
we could
dancing
make that move
already.
effective April, the first Friday in April. I have no personal stake in this whatsoever, I'm asking, what was your reasoning for Friday versus Sunday?
Hawking.
Sunday you only have movies at 1:45 and maybe
Instead of
once a season, which you don't even have,
Right.
do you have a Sunday? I'm just bringing it to your attention because I feel.
Dominic?
Again, I have no personal stake, but I do feel that you are leaving a certain group of people in the community that you are offering a dance on Friday night that under no circumstances can they go for religious reasons.
That's a good point.
So I'm just throwing this out for food for
Oh,
thought.
I didn't think of that.
Do they even
No,
go
I
to
did.
You're gonna get complaints whether you do it Friday, Monday, Tuesday,
It
Wednesday,
doesn't matter what day.
doesn't matter.
You're gonna get
But you
complaints.
are, and I'm not doing this because I'm Jewish or any other reason, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with you. You are absolutely leaving a group of people out that under no circumstance can they go.
You're gonna get a lot of complaints from just the normal people who go on Saturday.
Correct.
But this was said at the last meeting when this was brought up. There's a lot of people who like Saturday night. We're trying to do it because of the parking. That's the main reason.
But Saturday
Remember?
night, for the most part, they couldn't go, this group that I'm talking about could not go for the most part for the duration either, because by the time Shabbat.
So they couldn't go on Saturday either.
Correct, so what I'm saying is now,
Yes, they can.
well, they could go
Oh,
late,
yes,
they
there's
could go
sundown.
late.
They can go.
I'm not advocating for or against it, I'm trying to play
I
devil's
think that's a
advocate.
major point, frankly, isn't it? I mean, that,
No,
you don't think it is?
I don't think most observant Jews would go to the dances to begin with.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that's good to know.
That's my opinion.
I have no problems, I just felt like I needed to do my due diligence and just
Observant
mention
Jews
it.
go to the dances.
So effective the first
I didn't
Friday,
realize that.
it will
Okay.
be moved. Now let me ask you this question. Do you want me to do this to the extent our brochure goes to print in June? Do you want me to do this just for the summer and then see how bad the flack is for the season? Or do you just want me to move forward and we'll grin and bear?
Try it for a year.
Yeah,
So try it for one fiscal year into the season, and if the flack becomes unreasonable, then you'll revisit it.
Yes.
and yeah, I was gonna say, just do it. And if we have to change it, we have to change it. I wouldn't set a condition of a year or whatever. Just do it and see what happens.
Okay, but remember, we're putting artists under contract, that's the difference.
Oh, I see,
So you
okay.
can't just
Has to be fair.
arbitrarily,
You can't flounder.
you can't arbitrarily say, well, now we want you to move to Saturday, it doesn't work that way. We will do it for one fiscal year when I come back to the committee
Okay.
in whenever I do, or when you come back to me and say, this is unbearable, we can't take the
Okay.
complaints, you know, then we'll revisit it.
There's Sandy.
When
Okay.
No, Sandy.
Sandy gets to go. I just needed to find out, we set this up and we mentioned a 2019-2020 season is what we had. So just for clarification for me, when do you consider that to start?
November 1st,
Okay, November of which year?
19
19.
through October of 20,
Okay, so,
because that's your fiscal budget year.
okay, so you're saying that it'll just be April of
6
that,
months earlier, only because we're.
earlier, wait,
April.
Yes,
April of which year?
April 19.
19.
So it's in your
Okay.
2019 budget. A budget, from a budget standpoint, doesn't change anything.
Right,
I'm
just
just,
a day.
you all had said that you wanted to start it for 1920. I'm just informing you that I am not contracted for April through October of 19. So if you wanted to make that change earlier, you are welcome to.
That's what I wasn't sure if you were saying earlier or a year later.
Oh,
Yeah,
Thank you.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, thank you.
Barbara,
When do you officially have to know positively if we wanna change it before you do the contracts? What's the latest date we could let you know?
from when?
From now, let's say this gets out in the place and we get a lot of flack. When do you have to sign the people up for April
For
2019?
April of
Yeah.
19, we will be working on our season brochure is
Right.
going, we're proofreading on the 1st. It will come out by July 17th. I would say by July 1st, we
So
start
you
working
would
on
have to
this.
have a definite then.
So that might be a
Yeah,
really
already.
great idea.
I know you voted.
it.
I
You
understand you voted, this committee voted, all I'm saying is, I think at the next delegate assembly, it might be good to let them know what you have in store before you get hit with anything.
Nobody
That's
goes to
all.
delegates.
it's a big mistake to open the door to the delegate assembly running this meeting
No.
and this committee.
Okay.
That's been tried before. And it's a big
117
mistake.
people.
Yeah.
Compared to.
You say it'll get out, of course it'll get out,
Right, through this.
alright? Tony,
I'm inclined to agree. I wouldn't bring this to the delegates assembly, because the only people that are interested in what day the dance is are the people who go to the dances. I don't think I would not say there's a lot. How many people that are delegates or go to the dances? None of us know, and I think the people who go to the dances are the better persons than I don't go to the dances, but I go to the delegates assembly. Do I have a right to decide what you people do? No, it should be your decision. Give the people who go to the dances an opportunity to try it on Friday, and yeah.
You gotta, once the word gets out with this here, that it's
Mhm.
being changed definitely to Friday. And anybody who goes to the dance this Saturday can mention, and the word will go like wildfire, then you'll get response.
It's just an announcement, it's not,
That's all,
the delegates
announcement.
have no right to vote, it's
No,
just
just
saying,
an
Also
announcement.
bear in mind
this
that when
change is coming, and if you don't like it, let us know.
bear in mind when I sit with you in March to do the season of bookings, at that point, we will have contracted the bands, but we can hold off in sign, in
how about
case.
we let JM make the announcement at the start of the shows,
And JM's not here in the summer,
Whoever
but
does
whoever
that.
is, okay.
alright? You're going down a very slippery path when you bring the business of this committee to delegate assembly.
It's true.
There's
Well,
a
then at the show,
Crossover
someplace
of
you gotta
missions.
announce it.
right?
Right.
Well, now you're announcing it almost a year in
Put
advance.
it on
Which
a
is good.
flyer, let's put it on a flyer, we can put it in the package, okay? I just don't wanna
That's a good
open,
idea.
I don't wanna open the delegate assembly to extensive debate on the workings of this committee,
Motions that follow.
huh?
Motions that follow.
Joyce,
Okay, I think the biggest complaints will be the people who go to the theater on Saturday nights. A lot of my friends, they go from the theater into the dance. I think those will be the people to complain the most, which I don't think is a reason not to do it, but I'm just saying that. No.
I just wanna say, when you mentioned when this is going to get out, this information's been available for a month now. So it's that
In
information.
the minutes, you mean in the minutes?
In the
Well,
minutes.
Nobody reads them
And-
except us.
Do you think the people in the dances really know? I guarantee you, once I go and say to someone at the dances, pass the word, they're changing it to Friday. Let's see what happens.
Well, I can put a poster out
Oh, but
at
that's
the
even
dance,
better, because I'm not gonna be
saying that
here.
come April 2019, the Saturday night dance will become the Friday night dance.
That would be a great idea, and the flyer for you.
obviously, we are sensitive to significant blowback from the unit owners. If that happens, we'll rethink our decision,
Right.
obviously.
But we have to go out there to get an opinion.
Right.
Carol,
Alright, what about karaoke on Friday nights? How is this gonna affect that?
There won't be any, that was the
No.
general idea, there wasn't
There
gonna
won't
be
be
any
any.
karaoke.
We didn't discuss karaoke,
That's a
we do
little
that, we do
different.
that twice a week in season. Actually, we've extended it by 1 month, so it runs twice a week from November through April. And that's not a large group, it's never a large group that might have serious
yeah,
competition.
but it's vocal.
Put your hand up.
And
Careful.
passing notes in
All
school.
right, John,
Okay, we got about from 180 to 220 people out of season goes to the dance. In season, 430 to 450. So we got, 10,000 people here, and we got 450 people. I'd just soon have 450 people mad at me, it's 10,000, so just go ahead and change it. The reason I'm assuming is basically for parking more than anything, cause there's not room for everybody to the dance and everybody wants to go to the show. So we're changing it to make parking a little bit better. It's
All right.
not
Yes,
to
exactly.
irritate
so
anybody.
clearly, the opinion you want is from the core group of people who use the service.
That's exactly,
And we should try to target those people for their opinion.
yes.
Right.
Tony,
That's exactly it. I mean, what did the delegates have to say about the dance, the people at the dances?
They're not.
There've gotta be, I'm sure we can make out a little questionnaire, just mark it, Friday
We
night or
don't need a
Saturday,
questionnaire.
or whatever.
We've already redirected it, that I'll make announcements in the theater, because we get them going from the theater to the dances back and forth. And we'll put a poster in the dances out.
I think we were discussing nuclear test bans.
It is.
On a positive note, perhaps this will increase the attendance on Saturday nights in the summer.
That was why we did it.
And
That and the parking was the
the
reason we did
only
it.
other thing that I need to confirm with you is that we do run a theme dance. New Year's Eve is always on New Year's Eve, but your Sweethearts Ball will now be on a Friday night and your Halloween dance will now be on Friday, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
In the back, Fausto.
That, what I was going to say, the sales pitch is very simple. We just hit on it 10 times. In order to accommodate the lack of parking on a
Right.
Saturday, to prevent the conflict, we're moving the dance to a Friday so we could have more space for parking. That's the presentation.
That's why we did it.
That's why we did it, right?
That's why we did it, that's it, there's no other discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
And to get
more Thank you.
people at the shows.
Do you have any more on
I
this,
hope not.
on this critical issue?
Can we die? Let it die. Can we retire? Let it die.
What's next, Abby?
What's next?
I just wanted to, if you all remember, we discussed next summer, the fact that we're gonna do buy 4, get 1 free
Yes.
in the summer. So I just wanted to let you know that as of yesterday, you all had 16,000 in the bank and you had sold 2,906 tickets. I was going to just give you for informational purposes what Pembroke did, because that's who we're modeling in this after. They have, as of yesterday, 29,959 tickets in the bank, and they sold 8,042 tickets.
Really?
So,
Barbara?
Oh my God.
This is the same set of shows we see?
this is the exact same set of shows.
What's that about?
It's, people love this new BOGO thing. It's BOGO, it's BOGO time. I don't know if it will work here, but you have nothing to lose, in my opinion, by trying it.
Well, we already,
How
didn't
are
we
they-
already agree
Yes,
on
but I
that?
just wanted to bring you
Oh,
up
I
to
was gonna
date.
say, gee, are we
No,
that
but
stupid
I
that we
just want-
forgot to do this?
I don't get the
I love
opportunity to
BOGO.
come here that often, so I thought that I would at least just give you that information.
How are they fixed for parking?
Endless.
Pembroke,
All
No
the other
place has a
villages have
parking problem.
more
There's no
parking
issue.
than they need, so they've empty
You said it was a
parking
different
spaces.
type of person, than we have,
No,
demographics there.
are very
Very
different.
different.
Different times are
Right.
about 70% Hispanic.
Right.
and their dances are off the charts. You can't walk in that room.
Really?
Friday nights,
Friday night dances, they sometimes have 400 or 500 people.
oh,
And that's
I
Friday
would've said
nights.
more.
Friday
Yeah.
night,
Right.
every
So,
Friday
they don't
night. And every Saturday night.
And, well, they have Friday night and Saturday night dances.
It's free, that's right.
No, you
Their
need,
dances are free?
yes.
Okay, just wanna clarify.
Sort of.
Anything
Yes.
else?
The only other thing that I want to clarify and remind you is that you have asked, and I just want your approval, you have asked me to hold off on the curtains, even though we decided we were gonna put in the next fiscal budget. And what we're going to do, hopefully this week or next week, we're gonna get your curtains tested for $450. And that will help you make the decision at this budget workshop where we're going from there. Are we all in agreement that we get the curtains?
I thought we decided we were gonna get the curtains on the next budget.
Well, but
I mean,
then
you
there was,
could, why spend $400 on having them tested when we're gonna change them anyhow? I thought that, am I losing my mind
No,
here?
yeah, well,
I think you
No,
need to
don't.
speak up on this because this
Barb,
was,
this was your.
you introduced this, that why do the curtains this year if we have them
Yes,
tested
right.
and they're good for another year?
Right, that's
So,
what I
Because you
wanted
have
to
to
you may
be
not have been
sure.
at that meeting.
I don't think you were.
No, I don't.
That's
think
what I
so.
Because I just, folks, these are goddamn,
$450 is nothing
they're
compared to
theater
$25,000.
curtains, if they go up, you have
Unless you don't have $450.
Oh, they're old, get rid of them for God's sakes.
Is
What more
there,
years?
is
You
there
saved a lot of
a
money.
regular
What?
fire
You
inspection
know what they cost?
scheduled for
25.
that facility? Do the inspectors not look at the curtains?
No, that has to be done probably
Whoa,
special.
don't, why did you say
What are we
no?
doing? Yes, so every
That's a
year.
known,
Every year.
that's a known problem.
Every year they have to
Every
be
year.
done.
Correct.
Is there a inspection schedule?
It's our responsibility, after, let's say if when we actually put a curtain, or if it was a new job when we did the theater, when they come in and the fire inspects, they want all that information, and then it's our responsibility to make sure that it's maintained, the ratings on the fire curtains.
I got you.
Okay, so if something ever happened, I always turn this stuff in to either to the fire department, or we always keep it on file, knowing that it's up to.
There's a reason I ask, because obviously the county has found some money. They've resumed
Yeah.
fire inspections of these residences here. And I'm sure that the rec facility will not escape notice.
No.
Now, I would have thought a curtain, because there was, in history, there is a known catastrophic disaster involving theater curtain. That would be part of the checklist. I'm only trying to differentiate whether the fire department will handle the $400 issue for nothing while they inspect the rest of the building.
No, I think they
Well,
expect you to
I'm
keep
just,
them up to date.
Oh, of course.
They won't test it, they only know that it's on file, okay, and if, again,
Alright.
if we do not keep that, or advise, or if we change those curtains, okay, we advise and send it in, okay, but it's our responsibility to make sure that they're rated, after.
I got you.
I guess the decision is, do we spend $450 in hopes that we can go into the 1920 budget or 2021 budget? Or do we just move forward with your original, cause this was brought up after the fact, after it was voted on, that we do the curtains in the next fiscal year, where we were able to hold the price from the vendor.
Cause it's not saving you any money, it's just putting off the inevitable. You're gonna spend the money and chances are that the curtain cost may even go up a little bit while we wait. So that's,
True.
you know.
I had expected to see it in the draft budget. But we voted on that.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
but it was raised at the,
That's fine.
We
it
did.
was derailed,
We can discuss that at the budget meeting. Move on.
so right now I'm doing nothing.
Well,
Well,
what they're
well,
saying, they're saying.
I'm bringing it to the budget meeting,
Right.
budget
So we're
workshop.
not testing them again?
We're not testing them.
No.
We
Put 'em
are
up.
testing, why not?
Well, I
Put 'em
You
up.
either test them or you buy new ones.
Why
Buy
don't
new
you
ones.
see if somebody makes a motion to change them or not, period,
Right.
right now. And then you know what you're doing.
If I understand what I heard Dan say, it was a little fuzzy, but when the fire inspector comes in, he's gonna say, where's your paperwork on the curtain? Is that my correct understanding?
He could request that, there's certain fire, the fire department checks what they think, when they're on it, they'll ask for this, they'll ask for certain things, but not every time do they ask for my curtains, they might ask for the rating for the carpet, or they might ask for the rating of the book, or they had the cork and stuff that it
Alright,
does,
I was greatly relieved when I asked the question, do any of the presentations have pyrotechnics? The answer was no, but it's still a life safety issue. I don't think we should continue circling the bushes on this.
Well, and the last thing we have on
Just do it.
file, that if they did ask, it states that they have maybe a year left from the last time they were tested and should be replaced. That's the last thing on file, that if the fire marshal asked, that's what we'd have to hand them, okay?
I'm sure that-
So you have to decide where we're going from
I'm
here.
sure there are gonna be things that we're gonna need to build up our budget a little bit more come budget time. So I think we should do it.
It's
At
25
least this
there's a
one we can,
motion right
at
now.
least this one we can.
Make a motion, Tony.
The budget is
It's already said
$25,000 on
to
this
do it.
particular
Yeah.
project.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Make a
No.
motion.
Why? I
No,
mean,
no.
bottom line is, can't we,
Do we have the 25,000 right now?
25 plus tax.
Do we have it now in the budget?
I don't think we have anything
Yes.
left, do we? After,
I do
Wait,
believe we
let-
have it.
I think they do.
Don't
Current
take it
year
out
budget?
of our reserve line,
I
Dan,
just wanted
No, we
to
took it
clarify
out.
We
this,
took it
the
out.
Took it
fire
out.
It was
In
removed
November.
from the budget,
But it
the
will
current
be in
year
the next
budget.
one.
the fire
Okay. Right.
Just
have you
say,
got
folks,
anything you
folks.
haven't spent money on?
folks, we can't have a meeting like this, where everybody shouts out whenever they feel like it. Okay?
Thank you.
Dan,
Okay,
you were next.
just to clarify, the curtains not only for the actors or entertainments that we use with any kind of pyrotechnics. It's also a fire rated wall, that basically is actually trying to protect, from backstage to the audience,
I
okay?
gotcha.
So it's not just for flammable products that might be back there, but
No,
just
I
to
understand.
actually divide that whole section,
Who's next? Tony, you next?
I think,
Huh?
bottom line is, if we can move around a few dollars, I mean, you get it now. Or you wait till next month when we put it back in the budget, and when's your budget begin? I can't-
November 1.
November 1.
We're talking 6 months.
I mean, bottom line, as long as you have a new curtain for the beginning of the season, that would probably be an excellent idea.
They were recommended to be replaced in 2018. November is still 2018, so we fall within the recommended budget.
We're gonna order them in September, and they will be installed on November, before season opens.
I can't see, when it comes to life safety, you can't mess around,
I agree. Ruth,
you know.
I will make that motion in a moment, but before I do, I wanna clarify something with Eva. Did you not say at the last meeting or the one before that you could save money from, was it a fence or something?
I was.
No, that's about something else.
Well, I had offered up not doing the Dorchester fence, which the budget was 25,000, if it would help the committee find their way to approving the curtains.
Yes.
No, it wasn't the curtains, son.
It
Yes,
was-
it was.
No,
it
it
was
was it was a few other little
Was the
knickknacks.
No, but it
It
was
was,
against.
no, wait, can I speak?
No,
It
you
was
didn't
a
have
few
to.
things that you had when you came, it was sound
Side-
equipment,
side fills,
and it was lights and a whole bunch of other stuff.
because
That's what you asked for. She did not ask for the curtain, because the curtain we had already talked about that curtain other times. Let's take the curtains out of it. That money for the Dorchester fence was, you were giving it to Abby for a whole bunch of, and, yeah, no, do not, do not shake your hand.
I would have to go back in the
will
minutes.
you please wait till
There
you're
are no
called
minutes.
on?
I asked.
Huh?
I do remember that in my mind, it was to trade for the curtains, because I felt that was the most important thing we had going on here.
It was to trade,
I'll look back through the minutes,
excuse me.
Ruth was speaking.
Abby asked for 40,000 and 30,000.
Mhm.
40 was for the speakers and the 30, I'd forgotten, but I know it was 70,000. The 25 that Eva,
Side fills.
yeah.
it's just
Right.
to clarify,
Eva said 25 to
it's
cover
for
the curtain.
it's for the
At
board and the
this-
side.
At this time, I make a motion to replace the curtain with the current coming budget.
I second it.
Alright, moving right along. Any discussion on this, further discussion? Call the roll. What's buzzing?
It's
Sounded like
No, I think it's
Any
outside.
further discussion on this?
No, let's
No,
vote.
vote.
Alright, who's got the call sheet?
John?
I've got a call sheet, here.
Well, use it for the curtain.
It's pretty close. It says roll call vote for operations, but there's a couple names different.
Okay.
Let's see, I got
Hold
one.
on. You have discussion?
No, all I'm asking for is a clarification, are we gonna do it now? Are we gonna wait until next month and put it in the budget? Or are we gonna buy the curtain now?
No.
It's just a clarification
Is there
thing.
money now?
Yes, we've
There's a
still,
line,
Is there?
we would kill one project, which is, the budget is 25,000
Dorchester fence.
and do it for, yes,
No,
and do
you
it
killed
for
the
the
Dorchester fence, if I might. No, I didn't open my hands. Sorry. Sorry, David. The Dorchester fence was the money for all the
To
stuff.
side fill speakers and
No,
blah, blah,
I
blah, so what?
It had nothing, all I'm saying to you is that what you're doing is you're giving them money for this, and then you're also giving them money for that, and then you're also giving money for the Dorchester
Are gonna
fence.
be decided when we all get together for the
the
budget,
budget
that's for next budget
Yeah,
year.
but the Dorchester fence was in this year's budget.
It is.
Now, all of a sudden, it's being transferred to next,
We would kill the Dorchester fence project, that means now we have $25,000 on the
Same
budget.
goddamn
and we would-
25.
We would take the Dorchester fence off and we put theater curtains on it.
Yes.
Yes.
but you've
Yes.
already given her,
No.
the stuff she wanted.
No,
We
that
didn't
was
give her
not-
anything.
That was a
We didn't
wish
give her
list.
anything.
That's
No,
right.
didn't you
No.
say,
Nothing was given.
am
We did
I,
not,
was
you
given.
did
I
not
totally
approve,
suggested.
we will bring it to this budget workshop and I will explain in
we
depth.
have just taken one bit of money and given it to two different places.
No, you
No,
haven't.
no,
No, you haven't.
No,
Okay.
The comparison between the Dorchester fence, as lovely as it is, and the new theater curtain, there is no comparison,
Right.
in my opinion. Barbara,
Yeah, I think what you're saying is, let's forget about the Dorchester fence, it's not a necessity, the curtains are a necessity.
Yes.
And that's the end of it,
Yes.
period.
Let's
So we go for that, and when the budget comes up with other stuff that she has on it, then we'll determine what we have money for or not.
So we are not buying side fill speakers in this budget year.
Tell Abby, don't tell me.
No, we're not.
Well, you're not.
I was sitting right there and you were telling.
You're
It's
not.
on the wish
So
list.
let's
on
get
the
the
wish
curtains.
Let's
That we
vote.
Move
presented
forward
in
with
I'll
the
make a
curtain.
motion.
It was
Oh,
that.
we got a motion on the table, call the
we
vote.
have a motion, one more call for discussion.
What color?
Ah,
Pink.
no, not
No,
my
there's only
department.
one color, isn't there?
The
Or
color
they
is
all-
black.
Joyce seconded.
Uh,
Black?
John,
Joyce
Yeah.
seconded.
John, would you call?
Yeah, please call.
Please.
Get rid of
I'd
it.
love to.
Once again,
See?
Yes.
Said I'd love to,
Act,
but I didn't
you
know I
have
wouldn't.
not clarified, are we gonna get the curtain now, or are we gonna wait until next year's budget?
Now.
Thank you, please, when you say that,
Read the motion.
thank you, that's what I thought.
Okay, the motion is to buy / change the curtain in the theater now.
This budget year, 17-18.
Now 17-18 year, okay. Okay, Tony,
Yes.
Hmm.
Hey,
Joyce.
don't do that,
Joyce,
I was
Yes.
never for the.
Ron Massa,
Yes.
Tom Guarna,
Yes.
John Gregg,
Yes.
Donald don't get a vote, Ruth Dries,
Yes.
Anita Buchanan.
yes.
Mr. Bryant.
Mr. Bryant. Is she still alive?
David Boaz. David still here?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there he is, whatever, okay.
Nice and quiet.
Joyce and, Joyce and John, yes, Sandy,
Yes.
Stuart Richland.
Yeah.
Barbara Cornish.
Yes.
Ed Black
Yes.
and David Israel.
Yes.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Forgot Louise.
Oh,
Forgot
Louise.
Louise.
Sandy.
They have
You
it
got
now.
Louise Warner.
Louise on the list.
Now,
Put her
hold
down,
on.
she's
Okay.
on the committee. Louise
I
Warner.
wanna point out, we have really not even gotten into the agenda.
Yeah.
You got anything else for us?
Oh my God.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
When you know in advance that you wanna discuss anything entertainment wise. I don't really feel it's fair that Eva or Monica defend my position, so please invite me, I'm happy to come. You brought up plays last year, you were not happy, obviously, neither was I with the outcome of On Golden Pond. But somewhere along the line, I think it was mentioned that, you know, we don't want any plays next year. Had I been here, I would have explained to you that when you approved the brochure and the programming for March,
You have one.
I have none,
None.
Okay,
so.
I didn't remember that to tell
Now,
you
remember,
when
a
it came
play
up
and a
last
musical are different, so.
That's a difference.
But I would appreciate that if you think that there's gonna, and if you don't think and you just want me here, that's okay too. But it's not fair that they have to defend my position for my actions, I have to be responsible.
Yes, Tony.
I think it just popped up, didn't it? I mean, it wasn't planned, there was nothing
It
planned.
wasn't meant to.
And besides, they held up your position
Oh, good.
pretty well,
We sure did.
I'll buy them lunch.
Alright,
at a
Jane,
really
just one
nice
thing.
place.
I, as a very good theater goer, see every show. I think Abby did a marvelous job,
Oh, yeah.
and I've just enjoyed the season immensely.
Yeah, it was an excellent one.
I think I'm one of her favorite people.
Now let's get your friends out there to come.
I try.
I know.
moving right along.
I'm there for every show.
We proceed now to updates.
Ceramics?
Ceramics.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I approached Gert, the instructor, and let her know that I would be shutting down ceramics because attendance in season, she would have two people at the most. So anybody who has any greenware in process and they're still in the village has the opportunity to finish up over the summer months. She is removing the greenware for those people who are snowbirds. She has another location and they can finish it up there. And she knows that she has to be out by November 1st. We started, it's overdue, it's overdue.
Alright. Bocce.
Bocce, that's the pictures that I'm just circulating, so it's the first of the awnings to be put up. Alright, and the other sections, the runs are like
Nice.
120 feet and 90 feet, so they're coming, they're on the tables, I'm told, and they're coming. Also attached to that, well, there's two pictures to that. Really dresses up the area. The other thing that was recently added are all the handrails. Alright, this is how we are controlling the people, and they have to follow the paths that we have created. No more will they be able to just walk across uneven surfaces of shuffleboard. I watch them do it all the time. Alright, so now they may, here they can certainly access the uneven surface, but when they get to the other end, there's a fence stopping them. So now they either have to go along the building and around, or down in between petanque and shuffleboard, and then over by handball and directly across to the guest pool. So this is our way of enforcing safety, because they just don't think of it for themselves. They don't think what the worst case scenario could be. It could be a broken leg, a broken hip. So very effective, so I just included pictures of that as well.
Very nice.
We're using the money wisely.
Holy
Is that monkey teeth?
Does anybody have any questions from the photos circulated? No?
Looks very nice.
Nice job, yeah.
Performance evaluation time
You
is
know,
upon
we're getting,
us.
and if you don't hear it, I'm telling you, we're getting rave reviews for the money you've provided to do the things we did back there. And again, as always, I always tell them, don't thank me, you have to thank the committee, because you make the money available. I can't do a thing without you making the money available. Just to let you know, the last budget year, we had such a problem with the sailboat. It truly was on the slow boat from China. This year went a lot smoother, and all the parts, the mast, everything came with it, where before they delivered the boat but nothing else, and then everything was arriving separately. So just to let you know, it's on properties safe and sound and inclusive of everything it should have come with.
Fully rigged.
Fully rigged. Yeah.
New business.
Well, under new business, we have the Dorchester fence, but now.
We don't have
Don't go there.
Jump right over
No,
that
you don't
one.
wanna pass on that one.
Alright,
Ah, yes.
the next one I asked to be brought up. I'm being asked to sign a contract to renew the water quality assessment. The last report, as I mentioned much earlier, showed a perfectly normal, chemical mix in the lake. A little excess turbidity simply means, there's particles dissolved in the water. Interesting test they do, they take something that looks like a target and they lower it in the water to see how far down it goes before the average eyeball can still see it. It's called a Seshi test or something. And there's some turbidity in the water. And my question is, and this is not a lot of money, folks, it's $1,300 a quarter, about $5,500 a year. Is this a contract? I'd love to hear from you guys on this, that we should renew. Is it really necessary? It seems like maybe now, with all these aerators installed, which are clearly doing their job, maybe we could just live with one test a year.
Alright, I just need to say, you already signed off on that one, but the one that I
I'm
brought.
sorry, I can't hear you.
No,
Okay.
no, I have that, it's not been signed.
Oh, you have it still?
Yeah,
I thought it was signed.
No,
Sure.
it's in
It's
the
not been
database.
signed? Okay, because the one I
It
brought.
expired in March.
well,
Okay.
just so I could
Alright.
say something on this portion.
Yeah.
I remember when we did start this, we just wanted to make sure, because of all the complaints on the lakes, just to see where we were and the improvements that we're making. So if we wanted to slow this down, we could and do once a year, or if there's a complaint that we could get the test done for us
I think
inexpensively.
once a year,
But I think we've reached that goal, and again, if we have problems again, we can just ask them to take the test, you know? But I think we resolved the, the people's questions and where we were going with the aerators.
you know, more important to me is the aerator deployment project. And maybe thinking about
Expanding outward.
moving it outward, because some of the more remote canals really are in bad shape. Loaded with garbage,
Yeah.
and some of them are smelly. I would not like to be living along some of those outlying canals. Dominic,
Yes, the aerators are certainly doing their job, but also, we're in the rainy season. We have gotten 5-6 inches of rainwater that doesn't have to be supplemented by reclaimed water. So the turbidity is decreasing, and I think we're better off not doing it 4 times a year. Eliminate at least the rainy season.
alright,
Yeah. I
Makes
agree.
sense.
okay, that's more in line with
What I
once a
mentioned,
year, or twice at most.
Yeah.
Any input on this, Barbara?
I would make a motion to do it twice a year, since we were doing it 4 times a year. Go twice, see where we are, and then if we find out we don't need it all the following year, then we get rid of it.
Yeah, I would certainly go for that. See,
Yeah.
this really didn't occur to me. This is the first time I've been asked to sign that contract. Prior years, Eva has signed that contract. And I don't mind signing it, it just seemed like 4 times a year was too much. Dan?
Twice.
And we will look into, cause he's already been looking into the aerators expanding outward, so we could get a price together for budget to see where we
Can
go
you,
next,
can
you
you
know?
have Aquatic Systems
Yeah.
redo that
We'll have
contract
them rewrite it.
twice a year?
Yeah.
We need a vote on that?
At the same amount, $13.92 twice,
Yeah,
or would it be any
Less.
different?
I
Might be
assume-
I don't think it would be any different.
I don't think.
I think it'll be the same.
Be the same.
Yeah, save us a little more.
Yeah.
Couple of grand.
Throw it hard.
Alright, do we need any votes on this? Alright,
I made a motion, but nobody seconded
I'll
to go
second.
twice a year.
I don't think we have to vote.
so you make a motion, we do the quality assessment twice a year.
Twice a year.
Yeah,
And I'll second.
And Ron seconds it. Any further discussion on this? Oh, yeah, go.
fine.
Is the reason we're considering this because of the improving quality of the lake over time? That we just don't need it as much?
That certainly was my consideration, when the last report came through, dead bang normal. I said, do we really need to be testing this water every quarter? Especially if we're gonna consider increasing the aerator deployments. That didn't occur to me yet, but yes, I felt that we had kind of accomplished our task. I had never expected that lake to read normal. And I was proven wrong. So do we have to keep pulling normal reports 4 times a year, or can we live with twice a year?
Yes, yeah, I think the
Well,
answer
see how it
is.
works out?
Yeah, exactly, tweakable, everything's tweakable.
Take a vote.
Alright, and further discussion? Alright, John?
Can it just be a vote without a real roll call vote? We have to do everything with a roll call vote?
Yes.
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 It's not a bad idea for the record.
Okay.
Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise. In favor?
Tony,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Dom,
Yes.
John Gregg,
Yes.
Ruth Riggs. Anita Buchanan,
Yes.
David Boyes,
Yes.
Joy Beth, John Hess, yes, Stuart Ridgely,
Yes.
Barbara Cornish,
Yes.
Ed Black,
Yes.
and David Israel.
Yes.
Another unanimous.
Sandra Cooper.
That's Sandy.
Sandra.
That's Sandra.
That's Sandy.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sandy?
Yes.
Oh, wait, now it's unanimous, I'm sorry. I don't have a corrected thing here.
Make a note for Rhoda
I don't know.
to get that thing updated. Rhoda.
Yeah, well, I just corrected them,
Okay.
I got my one done.
You ask him to think about 2 things at once, that's not good.
Okay, well, we're still on water, I just wanna let me pass these out, but I'd ask that every other person take one, because I had to print it in color, it was much easier to read, and I didn't wanna, it's more expensive, so I only printed like half,
These
so.
are the test locations, right?
Well, the committee had asked that we test other areas, we're talking about the canals over by Wellington, one over by Bedford, then we also have the Somerset area. Okay, so the bid amount is $2,565.
For how many tests?
You could have kept it if you wanted it. I sent it over to you.
These are the proposed new test locations?
No,
I think they're.
Dan?
Yes, excuse me.
These are the proposed test locations?
Yes. This is what, yes, remember we were getting complaints from Wellington area with the canals there, so it's in addition to the north and south canals.
There's 5 locations?
Yes.
Yes, 5 locations.
And they want 2,500, did you say, for a single test of all 5?
Yes.
Or
That's what it
per
is.
location?
It's just once.
Once.
Now, the only thing that I would do here is take that one test and then these locations that don't have some aerators, that we could find out the improvements in another year or 2, so. I'll try to find out what's better, before we sign this thing, I'd like to go and give you where the locations are of the aerators right now, and then where we wanna go to, you know? So,
When you have a new contract, I assume you're gonna get or
Yes.
proposal?
Right.
Because I'd like to distribute it,
yes.
before we just go spend money.
But before the next meeting, when we get together on our budget, I will get this included with the aerators, okay, where we're gonna put them, so that maybe we'll do the test in those particular areas, okay, to see where we're going to in the next few years.
Yeah, I think
Instead
the
of,
condition of the water is a primary driver of where to put these areas,
right,
Absolutely.
right?
yes,
And we have resolved the problem, they're not noisy, they're not keeping anyone awake.
No, I have it right outside
Okay,
on the lake by me.
Tony?
And the money we would be saving on the testing of the other one, we could use for the,
Yes. But this would be a single point test.
Yes, just to tell you where we are, and then you can
Where
make
they-
decisions from there.
are they're gonna be 5 individual, are they gonna test those 5, each of those 5 areas, right?
well, let me just, like I
Yeah,
said,
okay.
I want a better, because again, I wanna talk to Aquatic System, because I wanna show you a map, okay, where the aerators are right now, where I want to go in the future, take the test on those particular lakes, okay? And then we could go, have that documented, and then get into the budget to put the aerators in, and the next couple of years, we could see the improvements
I
in
would
those areas,
raise
you know?
one concern, if I'm remembering correctly, Don't these lakes in Wellington belong to Wellington?
No,
No.
no, we gave them to WPRF.
You, oh, how generous.
Oh, you quit claimed them?
Not us, but
A
you know.
leaf right out
They
of
were-
Mr. Levy's book.
They were quitclaimed to Yuko, and Yuko has asked us to
Okay.
oversee.
I was close.
I didn't remember that.
Yes.
As usual, what do you think?
John,
With the cleaning of the canals, doing the
Yeah.
banks and digging the bottom out, that's gonna change our, whole situation with the lake. I think some of this testing, depending on where the digging and stuff is, maybe wait till that gets done to do this. Cause it's all gonna change dramatically after that gets
if
cleaned
you're
out.
talking about the Great Jungle Clearing Initiative,
It's not gonna be done for a while.
I'm just saying, I'm hearing numbers upwards to $500,000 to
Yeah.
get that done.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And I don't think we'll be testing out that far right away.
Oh, that water's not gonna run out there. It's gonna stop. Weird. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
I think that, I don't think you can touch those jungles. I've seen them. And you're gonna have to clean them before you wanna test them, because I can look at them right now and say, they're gonna fail whatever you test you give it, they're gonna fail.
Some of those canals are in awful shape.
No, I mean, there's stuff down there that you wouldn't wanna go near.
But this is not that far out, really.
This is not the north and south canals.
No,
They're
it's not
including
anywhere.
this.
All I'm saying is they haven't even touched that.
This is
I
more
opened my mouth
interior.
without.
These are the deeper canals too, I mean, when we're looking at the North Canal, when it's dry season, you don't have that much water out there at all, you know, so. And even when we clean that up, you're also gonna have that same condition out through there, there isn't a lot of water. I mean, that's why the hydrant is running constantly out there to try to keep the.
Oh, not anymore.
Oh, they turned that off.
finally
turned it off.
Finally.
Oh, with the water, the rain comes in.
All right,
It's over
Barbara.
there.
Dan, you said something about testing the waters in location.
Yes,
Who is going to test the waters?
that was aquatic systems.
Okay, and what are they gonna charge you to test the water?
It'll be this quote.
$2,560.
Okay,
But
because
again, it will only be where, again, that's why I wanna bring it up to you, I wanna get the locations where we're going to be putting the aerators next, okay? And that's where I am going to, I'm not gonna go into the North Canal, because honestly, it's not even
I
worth, you know.
understand that, it's for the lake, I
Right.
follow you, but what I'm saying is, whether you do one or four, I don't know, but you're saying 2,500, yet we got, in the lake quality assessment that we just talked about prior to this, that we reduced to 2, was $13.46 for testing. So why are we paying 2,500 to Aquatic if maybe this company could test that water for less?
Same
It's the same
It's the same
company.
company.
But could
Well,
I-
then why are they charging us more money?
That's a good question.
That's a good question here too, okay, and I just what I'm saying, I'm gonna go back to all this thing, okay,
Oh,
cause this
good.
is actually, I apologize, this is my first time and I know she sent it to me, but I was not prepared, and I'll be honest, but to me,
Next
I
meeting,
wanna make
okay.
sure that I have where we're gonna put the aerators in and doing the testing, okay?
You wanna correlate that,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, so.
Because they should
we'll take
definitely
care
give
of
us a better
Yes.
price.
Okay, we will look into this for sure.
All right, so we're not gonna take any action on this right now.
We're gonna hold off.
Dominic's been waiting a long time.
It's got a long
Yeah, my
arm.
arm is tight, I used the left one now. With the exception of Lake 3, which is, I think, the South Lagoon, the other 5 locations are where there's the greatest amount of stagnant water just sitting in place that it really needs something
aerator.
to agitate and get some movement in there.
And that's where I feel that we'll sit there, I'm gonna get back out there and then basically sit with them and go over that, and then next meeting I'll have a map showing where they want to actually put these aerators on and the expense of that. And of course, we'll do testing and do a test on that water sample to see how when we do put the aerators in and a year later to see what's.
Does Aquatic Systems do the aerator?
Yes.
They do
Oh,
everything.
there's a
Yeah,
deal
of
to
course,
be made.
of course.
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, 25, forget that 25.
That's what I said, that's crazy.
Tony,
I think, bottom line is they're probably giving us a cheaper price because this is, they already know what they're gonna be testing for. Neat, clean, tidy, it's not gonna be a big deal. They're gonna charge them $2,500 when they're going in new. So, you know.
And when we do listen, if we decide to go in these areas right now, like Dom was saying, the water, the rainwater right now is gonna make it the readings, you know,
Yeah,
better
but-
for the
Dilute
lake
them,
right now,
sure.
dilute them, so.
Yeah, but Dan's thought about correlating aerator placement and testing is a good thought. There's a big deal to be made, you know, just get your pencil sharpener out and we'll dangle this carrot in front of you. Maybe you'll get the aerator project too.
Hey, look, we don't have
Tony.
We don't have anything to, I mean, we started with really murky, bad water.
Yes,
And
we
they've
did.
really, I mean, bottom line is they've done what they've done. And when you can look at what it's cost us, it hasn't cost us a tremendous amount of money. And bottom line is a bunch of aerators in the water.
No,
I mean, you can't, what are we gonna do when we don't have lakes? I mean, what are we, Century Village without lakes, no sailing, none of it just looks nicer.
you've got a basic problem and
Yes.
it's a tough one.
Sure.
There are people who have been here a long time who say, well, when I got here 20 years ago, you could see to the bottom of the pond. I don't remember that being the case, but I'm in no position to, I never really looked. The point is, the day we turned on nitrogen and phosphorus rich reclaimed water, we signed our own death warrant in terms of filthy waterways. None of Hajimiri's super clever young engineers mentioned this. I have the original briefing that the continuous infusion of these fertilizers was going to encourage the growth of algae. And there's no avoiding it. There's no avoiding it. So we're fighting a battle. The aerators are fighting against the endless infusion of reclaimed water. And the further out you get, the more difficult it's gonna be, where the canals are a bit more stagnant. They're not really, you're not turning that water over. This is not a cheap process. Now, believe it or not, some serious people have suggested, hey, turn off the reclaimed water. It's fine until you get a drought. And some of you who have been here a while may remember when we had 8 feet or more of beach property along these waterways. And the pickups were getting left high and dry. They weren't even submergible. You know, over at Southampton A, they got so irritated about it, and I don't blame them. They dug their own well. All right? So they're fighting a battle here. And I don't know if we can win. You know, you deploy enough aerators, but you got real issues here. You got the algae, you got the midge flies. Go ahead, Dominic.
Last time, part of what was ignored was building a littoral shelf along the
Yes.
shoreline for plants that would.
For the little
be there.
fish.
And,
That's what they should have.
Yeah, whatever happened to that project?
Okay,
well,
well,
it should have been part of the original, geotubing, so.
with the geotubes, the littoral shelving was covered. We only have 2 areas where we have littoral shelves, and that's on the front of the island as you're coming over the bridge, to the right and to the left. But the littoral shelves were covered with the geotubes. Now, we did bring in engineers and they, they showed us where they would put in, we could put in littoral shelves on, like the 4 corners as you go around the lake. But we have not brought that forward because that's gonna be quite an expense.
Not only that, the problem that we have here with the littoral shelves, we did a study test on the water, height of the water going up and down for a year. And it was very hard to put what kind of plantings, because when we, depending on the amount of water coming in from the reclaim, or like in Boca, we could average that out, it stays pretty basic, it goes up and down maybe 18-20 inches. Where here, you could drop 3 feet and then go back up, so a type of plant that would survive that, it was gonna be tough.
So to add to that, we did do some plantings on the right side, all right, and twice. And because of the fluctuations of the water levels, everything died off. That's right. Okay. The left side, we had all those wild palms, so I had them removed with the intention eventually that we would do littoral plantings, but because we've not been successful on the right side, I've just not dealt with it again, though I just did speak with Todd from Aquatic Systems recently about that. But we have such fluctuations, it's very difficult.
We can't do anything on that portion
Right
of it.
now-
It won't survive.
Right now, we've not been successful with what we do have.
Out of curiosity, can we get smaller aerators and put them in those canals where the water is stagnant and this would provide some sort of movement?
We will study, that's what I'm saying, I will get with them and we'll go out there and we'll look at it. The other thing is the power source, you know, I have to look for, right now I have everything coming out of the island. I ran long enough cords to get us from where we needed to from here, central location, put all the pumps out there,
On
our property right now. So now that we go out further, I'm gonna have to find locations that we could power off and then set it on properties of association properties.
Right.
So we're gonna have to, you know, look at into that and then bring it up to the committee so that we could get permission either from the associations where we place these things or where we're gonna get the power from.
All right, Barbara, then Donald, and then.
The other villages, do they get reclaimed water?
No.
No, only we get reclaimed. Do the other villages have any problem with their lakes?
No.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask.
Cypress Lakes gets some reclaimed water.
Yeah, but that's
They do.
not one of ours.
Yeah.
All right, Donald.
I just wanna point out that in a number of sections of shoreline, the natural grass has taken off on its own.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what it was planned to do.
Yes.
If we just keep the associations
From cutting down.
Cutting, that's
going
right.
down with stream trimmers, we
Yeah,
get more than going on, that's helped, that's exactly what was supposed to happen.
That was two things to help protect the geotube,
Right.
okay? At the
That
same
too.
time, it's also, you know,
Yeah, sure.
My question is from somebody who knows nothing about all of this, so bear with me. But what if we went to natural water? Could we contract for reclaimed water only when it gets ultra dry?
at this point, by looking at the study, you know, that did it eventually, there's no way that we would have any kind of water source other than the reclaim for the expense that you're going through. I mean, the expense would be, if you try to put fresh water into it, look at the hydrant right now, it's not metered. But if that was metered water going in that they ran for all that, we'd be thousands of dollars in
So we have
tolls.
no choice, really.
So we have no choice, that's why they went that route, again, not informing you, like Dave was saying here, that he didn't inform you of all the extra fertilization that you're gonna be getting from reclaimed water, okay?
And I can't imagine in any universe that the district will allow us to fill up our lakes with drinking water.
Right.
Just not-
There's some areas that I've seen in that they use a well water to actually dump into, but that's not legal. And, you know, to try to do that anymore, it's they frown on some like that, you know? So they actually put that hydrant, that was surprised me, you know, that they're actually doing that. But I guess they got enough complaints back there that it was some smell going on and.
So how do the other villages do it?
Well, it's because how it's actually, the drainage system is how it runs through there right now. Boca, it just clearly flows from one end to the other without a problem. The same thing in Pembroke Pines. They never have, they'll have their drought, but they'll never, I mean, in Pembroke Pines, their lakes are 50 feet deep, okay? Yours an average probably about 14, 13 feet here, okay? Boca the same way, probably about 14 feet, but the way it runs, okay, again, the where the canals are, keeps it pretty heavy. They go down 3 feet, they still have a lot of water there, you know?
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have anything else to add or any questions? All right, then we'll go down to the last item, which is the same-sex swimming. I had, oh, I'm sorry, David, I missed you.
You missed something.
Log-in guests?
Yeah.
I know we went over this quickly,
Same sex
Oh.
swimming or?
what is the action or inaction that's been done with the Dorchester fence so we don't forget it,
Nothing.
come to the next one.
It's been given away to 2 or 3 other different types of
We killed the Dorchester pool the fencing
Twice.
project for the theater curtains. I will put that on the list for consideration for the coming budget year.
Would you please make sure that's recorded?
Got it in there,
Thank you.
not a problem.
All right, I skipped over, I put in login, guests and gate. What I wanted to let you know is that since, from the period of January 1st through March, we had 745 violations, security violations. Either people at the pools didn't have their ID. So out of the 745, there were 346 of those which did not have their IDs at the guest pools. These are the issues that we are working on and at the different tennis and shuffleboard. So just wanted to bring you up to date on that. Additional to that, the people that are parking improperly or are exiting out the entrance of the parking lot, out of that 745 violations, 217 of those, we could not match their license plate to anything on the computer.
Wow.
So I'm going to be talking with Ed about whether we can capture this information on people coming into the village so that we can, when we come across this, contact the gates, and if they scanned in the information, we can then identify them so that we can deal with them, because we're sending out letters, especially the exiting out the entrance to me is continues to be very frightening. While I do see a drop, we still have those people that are just insistent on doing it that way. As I said in last month's meeting, we are gonna put up a roundabout sign showing them that it's not exactly a circle, and maybe that throws people off, I don't know. But that's to be treated as a roundabout, and that you have to go around it to exit. So we're just still focusing on how we can stop this from happening, but it's gonna involve Ed.
We do get that license plate of every vehicle that comes on.
I think that they wanna create a form, some kind of form. I think you, Daniel, and I would need to sit down on that if we could. And we'll discuss that, so.
Let me understand something. You've done some kind of check, and you say there's a significant number of license plates on cars parked in the parking lot that don't equate to unit owners or renters in this village.
Correct, they're guests.
What are their guests?
Or companions that if they don't get the ID card, we don't have the license plate on the computer. So out of 745 violations,
Right.
217 of them, we could not match them to any resident that we would say this is a guest of this particular resident. Where we could reach out and send a letter to the resident or even to the.
Wow.
So we need to be able to get a better correlation, this is doable,
Yes.
between guests and unit owners.
Yeah,
I think we're able to see the license plates, you may not be able to.
We might be able to help
Maybe the
with
access. Talk to Daniel when we're finished.
Now, I don't know how you go about checking these, I kind of visualize some poor guy writing them down.
Well, actually, listen, this is, one of the best things about this is the fact that you can take pictures on the spot, and most everybody has it in their pocket, so the guards know to take pictures everywhere. If they see an incident, someone fall, take immediate pictures of the location, everything. So that's how we're capturing the license plates.
What we might look at, I don't know what it costs. But I know PBSO, California Highway Patrol, has a very neat scanner. It sits up on the dash, and they can go down 95 or wherever, 70 miles an hour, picks up every tag, matches it against a database, looking for stolen vehicles. Now, what does that cost? Probably way out of our budget, but I would be interested. Like, I know for a fact, many years ago, maybe I've told this tale. I had a membership over at Holiday. And the guys all the time used to, big smiles on their face, talk about how they sneak into Century Village and use the facilities. And I just listened. And I don't doubt that some of that is still going on.
But much less, and the residents have identified some people that have been coming in, somebody, fingered someone at the tennis courts. But because they had the gray hair and they'd been showing up for years, everybody assumed that they lived in the village.
Sure.
So, once we identified that and we approached them, that's it, they're no longer coming in and out. So, slowly but surely, we're going around and we are making sure that you're getting the bang for your buck.
That's not
That you
important,
want and
folks.
deserve.
People are coming in here using facilities that you and I pay for.
That's right.
Alright? Where are we?
We're at,
American
we're at the
flag.
very last item, the same-sex swimming. I had this conversation with this particular woman. She's not the only one that's requested this. This has come up before. I brought it to Mark Levy. You know, we are not a religious community. We will not make accommodations for what I'm gonna call ritualistic bathing. You know, and so I had that conversation with her, but she was insistent. She wanted to write a letter and she wanted me to bring it to the meeting for your consideration. So I'm just giving you the groundwork before this letter came to me. Yes, ma'am?
What? Okay,
I don't see why we should change any of the rules for swimming for women only. I think that's discriminatory towards men.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's right. And I think it should be left just the way it is. Why change it?
We're a recreational facility.
Right.
Don't.
I agree. If you have to change it for them, you have to change it for everyone.
That's right.
The issue, of course, we can look at it dispassionately and it seems logical and obvious. But as numbers increase, I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes documentary on Curious Joel.
Yes.
Their whole village could be taken over. Can you say Williamsburg? Can you say,
We're not there now.
not yet,
Not John.
Williamsburg.
Muncie.
but
Yes.
need to be reasonable,
Monroe
but
and Muncie.
different dedicated hours for men and women.
No, that's outrageous.
And this is actually not even asking, she's only asking for the women.
That's what
But,
I'm saying.
you know, we have, I have a resident who stepped forward and she loves doing it. She's also one of the people in the resident show, highly energized, and she's doing 2 aerobics classes back to back. I think one at 8, one at 9 in the morning at the guest pool. That early, generally, it's women only anyway. But it's going to be potluck. You're just gonna show up and it's either all women and you can join them, or if there's a man in there, you can.
Just the way it is.
And that's the recommendation that I make, and I'll continue to make that recommendation.
Absolutely.
Anything else on this one?
No, I think that's it.
Only private pools can make that, and Wellington or Oxford or Greenbrier if they want. But the regular recreation pool should not be changed.
Right.
It's open to everybody who pays their fees.
Right.
To my knowledge, I still might know better, I don't think the question has come up at Greenbrier, but it may have,
It may.
it may have.
We've had problems at Wellington,
How'd you resolve them?
not easily.
Say no.
The problem is that Wellington is the Orthodox, the complaints mainly have been that the bathing suits that the women wear look like dresses to people who are not aware of what a religious bathing costume is. So we have put up pictures on our bulletin board.
Right.
But we've also had people who live in Wellington bringing their friends from Dover over to our pool. And we've checked it out, but it's getting more difficult because, you know, you don't wanna, like I go to the pool, I don't wanna confront people, I'm not a policeman.
Yeah.
We have the same issue at Greenbrier, people come from, you have a very nice pool. And they come from Golf's Edge, for example, and it's an issue. It's an issue, people sneaking into Greenbrier pool. Barbara.
Golf Edge has its own pool, but I've been always, and this is why I never wanted to give services to the private pools, for the simple reason is, I used to play mahjong with someone who was in Wellington. And we couldn't go and have Wellington outside play mahjong by the pool, cause we, living here, were not allowed. But the people from Cypress Lakes, they were allowed to come to Wellington. If that makes sense, the way these private pools work, doesn't to me. If you're an invited guest, that's what should count, no matter where you come from. But they discriminate against the private pools, the people who live here. And that's like just so crazy.
Well, we pay extra for that,
For what?
for the pools.
You pay extra for what? For
My
the
maintenance
pool.
is probably
But if you
high.
want to invite me over, what would be the difference? If you want to invite me for something.
Right, you're right, playing calls.
I'm just saying, you have to be invited by a resident who's there.
Sure.
I'm not saying people can go use the pool, I don't mean it that way.
No, Wellington, you're right, we do not allow people, if you live in the village, you cannot use our pools whether
Right,
you're
folks.
invited or not.
Folks, this is the operations committee and various associations' pool policies are probably out of place here.
Louise.
Louise.
I was just going to say one quick thing. I have a girlfriend who lives in Gulf's Edge, right by the pool. And she had one day, there was a lady telling her she needed to get out of the pool so that the man could go in. And my girlfriend, who's a Catholic, said, no, I'm not going to do that. He can wait till I'm finished swimming and then he can go in. So again, a private pool, but obviously the women are feeling the intimidation that they can't go in.
There are issues, we have pictures of people in their birthday suits going into the pool at Somerset, at other places.
Yes.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
If I see it, for example, at Greenbrier, I call PBSO because it's indecent exposure.
Right.
Pure and simple. Do we have any other business, operations committee business?
I have one other thing that came to me last minute. It is someone who would love to do a demonstration here. It's an interesting story. She is a US Open and World Masters pocket billiards champion. And she would love to come and give demonstrations. Now, of course, the only way to do that is to hold it in the billiards room, limited space, and she charges anywhere from $750 to $1,000.
She's charging.
Yes, she's charging, but it's up there, to do something more moderate.
Minnesota facts.
But I don't think we could accommodate a lot of people, so though I think it sounds very interesting, I said I'd bring it, but I really can't.
Really wanna get into this sort of thing?
No,
Yes, she sure did.
Tony,
it seems to me that if you're gonna have something like this, and it might be something that you might wanna put in like down someplace where you have a larger space so you can watch her.
You have to move a pool table.
Exactly, and what I'm saying, and also, I've seen these things done, and you really need cameras from
yes.
up on top and sides, so you can see all this stuff.
And then everybody.
It would be almost impossible to do this.
This would be, look, I don't have to tell you more. There's an endless parade of people who look at Century Village and the elderly demographic as a cash cow, pure and simple. And they wanna come in here and they wanna sit in our lobby and they wanna go around and, and it's all about putting their little fingers in your pocket, right? Let this, let these people advertise in the Reporter.
Have it someplace else.
I think this is a bad idea, Barbara.
I don't think anybody should come in here to make money off us, unless a group wants to bring it in themselves under their umbrella or whatever. Because I just got in balance class, now a diabetic class. They have Tai Chi, which is charged over at Hastings with people through the Office of the Aged. They teach it. It's a great class, free. These are all free services to seniors, and that's what we are. We're a senior community. So why should we let people come in? And that only goes to a small group anyway of billiard players.
You've got those people who are always asking for something outside of the box and something different. We've been doing things the same way for so long. So we started with the book signings, which I think is a very nice thing, a little bit of wine, a little bit of cheese. So,
but is there a cost to the book signing other than if you buy a book? So there's no cost to the person.
the wine and the cheese, but we keep it down to like about $2.50.
Yeah, well, you're not talking about the people. People are still going.
Cheese whiz. Cheese whiz.
Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Please.
Second, merciful Lord.
Thank you all.
Motion, first and second.
Oh, how goes, what are you planning the insurance thing?
I have told the agencies that I want the request for Friday. So I'll be getting in
Who's the
touch.
other guy?
Hey, Dan,
Brett,
we was divided, we was to get a generator, power the house, we got a generator in the clubhouse. How big of a generator was we need?
and I've never done any business. No one else wants to bid it this year.
Well, they don't know. I'll tell you, yeah, well, USI, they
So by the
know
generator,
why.
then you have
He
to have
was-
I kind of told him, I said,
The prices went
you
down,
have to
okay,
put a
what's your,
transfer
what's
switch
the
in,
valuation?
transfer from your electrical.
Oh, I know that.
That's much on my page here.
Have a good day.
We can get a generator, you know, they've got those, lease to own programs, Caterpillar, big ones.
I'll probably be calling you next week sometime.
They'll set them up, hook up all the
the
stuff for you.
market
Get
that
something
they
like that.
We would just
I'm
have
always happy to.
here, okay?
Hey, you do more
We would have to
than,
bring
more
a
than,
wire
more than
into
20
a
for us.
transfer switch, okay?
You know, I couldn't
And
get
then back
anybody
into
to
the switch here with a connection outside, so that we can connect the generator to it to power the whole clubhouse. That's the only, that's the,
wanting to
that's
bid.
the